Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the world's okayest mountain bike podcast, in which we made it 3 months with our New Year's resolution. We made it 3 episodes, maybe 4, 3, I think 3.
3.
But you know what? Life really kind of took a slowdown for me in particular. I don't know about these guys, where mountain biking had to kind of get pushed down the priority list for a little while. But we're back. And I've got the two best co-hosts in the world with me, Ryan Brown and Kyle Krangle, assuming Kyle's phone doesn't ring and knock his audio off the podcast in mid-sentence, as we have experienced pre-pod today. But anyway, boys, it's good to hear your voices again. It'll be good to see you potentially again this weekend. I don't know if for sure I'll see either one of you, but Ryan, I'll be up at Matson. Pre-riding Friday, racing Sunday.
For the St. Gnarls Enduro.
I will not.
You bum.
Maybe I'll go ride tomorrow. What time are you going?
Yeah, come ride with me. I'm planning on dropping the kids off at school and then heading straight up after that. So
I got calls to like 1, 2 o'clock.
10 to start. Oh, what a bummer. Well, I'm trying to get home before school's out, so.
Sorry. And then, yes, little man is going to race his first moto on Sunday. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it really? You got him doing a hare scramble?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, sorry, I won't be at St. Gnarls. I wish all my St. Gnarls homies the best of luck and a great time.
Well, I'll tell you what also won't be at St. Gnarls, which makes me a little sad because I'm very excited about them, are our new Granada Cycles race team jerseys.
I know.
Will not be at St. Gnarls, even because they're not ready yet. But I will be very happy when they get here because they are sweet.
Yep. Super pumped. Love it.
Anyway, nobody else cares about that besides us. Now,
there's people that care.
Yeah. What people do care about, more mass appeal, is there's an event at the mountain bike capital of the world, so-called, called Bentonville Bike Fest. And our very own Kyle Krangle made his way down there last weekend and got to participate in the first 2 days of it. Probably everybody listening to this podcast knows that the second 2 days had to be canceled due to tornadoes destroying everything. What was that?
It was just the third day, just the last day got canceled.
Oh, I thought it went all the way into Monday. Like it was I thought it was like a 4-day event. Okay, so the last day got canceled.
Yeah, the festival itself was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then we actually got down Wednesday night and got to ride all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and then Sunday was canceled.
Well, Kyle, I'm going to let you start with everyone. Kyle is as proud as a peacock because he's got a little shredder that went down into enemy territory and showed the other little rippers what's up. So Kyle, tell us all about Connor and his experience.
So we had a good time in general. So out of the gate, Connor won the kids enduro in his age class. So Connor's 7, and he raced the boys age 6 to 8 enduro category and took first place and did excruciatingly well. The kid just absolutely flew. So there were 5 stages. It was like 6 miles of riding, and he raced 2 of them completely blind. So 3 of the stages we were able to get a pre-ride on and kind of have some idea. They didn't have any of it taped. We didn't know how long the stages were going to be, but we at least saw sections of trail on 3 of the stages the day before, and then actually 2 days before. So we rode pre-rode Thursday for the race Saturday, and then 2 of the stages were blind. And more rough cut kind of technical, or more for a kid, it'd be more rough cut single track rather than just like flow trail. And he did really good. He pedaled so hard, and it was just had good focus on his braking, and took first place. Man, I was stoked for him because he beat all the little local 6 to 8 year old kids that race the enduro.
Wow.
So
wow. Now, Kyle, did you get to like follow him, or do you like at that age to like do you just send him off by himself?
No, yeah, you get to follow. It's super neat the way they do it. So like it was
Cool.
just me and my kid just cruising around, and so if your parent couldn't ride with you, or even if your parent could, they had coaches that would lead out. So like every age category
cool.
had its own coach. So like if your
Yep.
dad was racing or whatever during that time, like you could literally just drop your kid off, and then the coaches would manage the race, that group of kids. But since me and Connor were fairly familiar with where we needed to go, we kind of scouted it on Thursday. I said, dude, let's just take off and go ride, because there was going to be
awesome.
it was going to be hours to get through it all for with the coaches and everything. So we went off and did it. We kind of ended up riding with one of the U14, a couple of kids, and we ended up kind of just cruising around with those guys. And Connor was kind of keeping pace with them. So we'd get to the stage start, talk about the stage a little bit. And I said, all right, now watch their helmet. So like when they go down trail ahead of you, you can kind of see where the trail goes, because a couple of them we didn't know if they were like pedal fest or what they were. And so we kind of got to watch a little bit of that and then go for it. And he ended up winning. So they had 5 stages he got timed on. He took first place in all the stages, I think, except for 2. But one of the stages he took first place on by a pretty good margin. They actually dropped because half the kids in the age category did not know that stage was part of their race day and didn't do it. So he only got scored on 4 of the stages. And then he ended up winning by less than a full second, actually, after they dropped the other stage.
Wow.
Yeah, it was less than a second that separated first place and second place in the kids 6 to 8 enduro, which is pretty impressive, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely proud dad moment. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then we did a ton of riding. So like whole picture of Bike Fest is, so we got down there as a family. So me, my wife, my 3-year-old rode on the Mac ride, and then my 7-year-old. I think we put in like 25 miles on Thursday, kind of just riding trail, cruising some greenway, like enjoying a full day in the saddle. We went out to Airship Coffee at Kohler and rode a bunch of stuff. And then Friday we went out, kind of did the same thing. We explored Slaughter Pen on Friday, and then Connor practiced some jumping. And then Saturday we raced. I raced straight rhythm. We all raced the Thunderdome Throwdown, which is like that's always been one of the events that I really wanted to attend. It's such a neat little locals like party event. And we all got beat first round. And that was Lauren's first mountain bike race since having kids. So she's done the Red Bull pump track and stuff like that, but she hasn't raced on a mountain bike since she had kids. So back of the race played on, and kind of enjoyed that. And she was the only one of our group that even stood a chance of making it out of the first round of qualifying for that. I lost to a superior 19-year-old local athlete, and Connor got beat by a 9-year-old local that just could fly. And then Lauren actually kind of went 1 and 2, but ended up taking a loss for the round. But she was much closer to winning than any of us were. Yep. And then we did a night at the rail yard. And Connor brought his 20-inch dirt jumper, and he was skying some jumps that were it was baffling to see his little tiny body and bike flying through the air the way that it was. He ended up dropping in on one of the double lines where he actually has like an honest, probably 18-inch or 20-inch drop into a steep roll in, and then actual legitimate concrete face doubles, concrete face dirt or paved landing doubles, but there was no gap. I mean, it was a legitimate gap jump, and he ended up jumping the full set of those. And then for my first time ever, I'm almost embarrassed to say my first time ever, but I've been staring at the pro line out there at the rail yard for like 6-7 years, however, since they've opened. And the very first jump going into the pro line is a real steep step down, but it's a blind landing. So from the roll in, you can't see the landing, and it's not even that bad of a jump. It's a pretty small jump, but in my head, it was always so hard. And so I finally got out there, and on the drive out there, I said, I don't even care. I'm going to hit that line. I know I can do it. And so as soon as I got there, I rode the dirt jump line that Connor was riding, 1 lap, and then I went straight over to the normal roll in and hit the pro line first round out just to get it out of my head. And that way I could enjoy it the rest of the evening. And so that was a win for me and a win for Connor.
Nice. Hey, Kyle.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Klint. You were trying to talk earlier too. Go ahead.
So Kyle, what is first of all, you riding with Connor, like the enduro, that really, to me, captures what is usually great about enduro is like riding with your friends on the transitions and stuff. And then it kind of reminded me of an enduro I did a long time ago, like 2017 when I still lived in Texas. Riding the second day around with Rich Drew. He was in the pro class, I was in the expert, but like we'd get to the top of a stage and he'd like bust out his notes and he'd be like, okay, you remember on this one there's this, and you go around that turn and there's a drop, like stuff like that. Like doing that with your kid though, that sounds awesome.
That's fun.
Like that.
Yeah,
it was cool, man. It was cool.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Clinton. I'm like, I can't wait to do that.
Now, that being said, the Bentonville and Slaughterhouse, Slaughter Pen, all the trails around there, they're there all year. So why, like, what is the main reason someone should go to Bike Fest as opposed to going down there on any other time? Like, what is, I know besides, like, there's tons of people, but, like, what would you say to someone, like, if you're into fill in the blank, then you should go to Bike Fest instead of a different weekend?
Man, it's just like, it's the same thing as why would you go to, let's say, car racing? Let's say, like, why would you go to watch the NHRA Top Fuel Dragsters race at Gateway instead of just going to a Tuesday night test and watching the local kids ride bikes? So, like, it depends on what you want to do. Like, if all you want to do is show up and ride your bike and not talk to people and not experience anything different, then don't go during Bike Fest, because there's a ton of people down there. Now, the ton of people are only really concentrated at the festival site. So if you want to go ride, you can go ride. Like, there is no more wait line. Like, it's not like lift lines or anything like that. Like, there is no more waiting to ride anything than there is on any other weekend. The upside of that too is that Bentonville takes the event pretty seriously, and all the trails that you enjoy riding are going to be in primo shape for Bike Fest, because they're going to have pro athletes there. They're going to have big companies down there, and those guys are trying to get attention and trying to continue to grow. So when they've got all the attention from the pros and all these brands that show up to do it, they put all the energy and time they can to make everything rideable and really primo and manicured. So it's the same as like opening day at Whistler or opening day at Trestle's Bike Park. Like, if you want to get as good as the trails get, you go when the people there care the most about it, right? So that's what always attracted me to Bike Fest for 2 years now, has been that everything I know when I show up, everything has been gone over and manicured as good as it can get reasonably for the event. And it's true. So the trails are in primo shape. The second thing, I'm a bike nerd, and I like product and gear and conversation. I like talking industry talk. I like talking to vendors. I like learning what's coming new in the industry from SRAM or Shimano or Park Tool or Santa Cruz Bikes or whoever. And I'm also a nerd of the culture and the racers. Like, I think it's super cool that I got to see Kyle Strait and Rachel Strait riding on the same trail as me. I got to slap high fives with Carson Storch. I got to get a selfie with Brett Tippy. I met Calvin from Park Tool. And so part of it is just being able to connect with people that interest me, and that I look up to, interact with on the internet. I finally got to meet my boy R-Dog. So me and R-Dog, Ryan Howard from Trek, he's from Aptos, California. He's a pro Trek rider. And I've been building and campaigning, that Trek ticket that I've had for so long, and talking to him on the internet. He sent me stickers from it. So like, we've talked on the internet for years, but I finally got to be like, yo, dude, look at the bike I built. And so for me, that stuff is super fun. I love getting to interact with the athletes and the companies that make the industry so exciting. If you have zero interest for any of that and you just want to show up and ride your bike and not talk to anybody and see anything new on the industry side, there's not much for you. But if you think bike culture is cool, being able to see guys doing double backflips over 20-foot jumps, watch Tommy Zula and the fastest in the world race the straight rhythm, it was neat. It's just a neat event. Like, and you can go to the event. There's all kinds of free stuff, stickers, swag, sunglasses, like all the general free festival stuff. Kids have a good time. There's there's events so Lauren did an event with Rachel Strait where she got to ride with Rachel and have Cam, our 3-year-old, ride with Rachel's kid Stevie. And it's just a fun event. Like, there's something going on all the time. And if everybody in your family is semi-interested in cycling but doesn't want to pound out 30-mile days, there's things to do outside of just pedaling.
Did you hand out any bike dealer stickers?
I did actually. So I had Rich over at Stickered redo them for me and make them a little bit bigger. And so now they
God.
say pedal pusher instead of bike
You
dealer.
really had more made.
I had more made.
Oh my God.
Dude, it was so funny too because I gave.
Oh, you shouldn't have made them bigger because now they won't fit on my helmet.
I gave Connor every day. I'd give Connor a pocket full of them, and I was like, "Hey, Connor, go give these to people." And like, sure as heck, we'd be sitting somewhere at some hub, like just kind of chit chatting, ready to like go session a jump zone, and he'd be like over there handing out stickers of my dumb face to his like friends that he makes on the trail and stuff. It was so funny. He actually traded stickers with Annika Beerteen, the pro rider that lives down there. And so he found her at a booth. He had no idea who she was, but she gave him a sticker, and then he whipped out one of those out of his pocket and gave it to her. She was
Does he tell her?
like,
Does he tell people this is my dad?
yeah, he does. He said, "This is my dad."
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, and if you're listening and you don't know what we're talking about, please come find me and I'll give you a sticker with my dumb face on it.
I need more. I need a new one. Or 5, you know, like I only had the one and I don't really wear that helmet anymore. So I really need a new bike dealer sticker.
Hilarious.
Yeah, no, but it's fun. Like that's like the whole festival is super fun. Like we came home with so many stickers and water bottles and samples of product, and it's fun, man. The racing is neat. The Red Bull straight or the Red Bull, yeah, or not Red Bull. I guess it was the Jones Soda Straight Rhythm. I don't know who sponsored it, but the Straight Rhythm race was really fun. I didn't make the bracket, but there was a couple of my buddies who I consider to be paid pro athletes also didn't make the bracket, and they only beat me by half a second on the time. So that was that. And then my bike made it to the podium, I believe. I think he took 3rd place. It was either 3rd place or 4th place, but my boy Jared Adcock borrowed my slalom bike and took it all the way to at least a low podium spot.
Man, you took what'd you take, like 7 or 8 bikes down there? 7, 8? Can't remember. I know I saw it on the picture.
8. It was
it took 8 bikes.
Yeah, it was 8, I think.
Which one did not get ridden?
Oh, they all got ridden. So I raced the new Enduro SX Mini Mullet, my slalom bike. I raced that at Thunderdome, and then Jared raced that at Red Bull or the Straight Rhythm. And then I brought my Ticket S, which I raced at Straight Rhythm and then rode the rail yard. And then I brought my Santa Cruz Bronson, which I rode all the trails. And then Connor brought his Tiny Rock full suspension enduro bike, and he rode all the trails. And then he brought his 20-inch dirt jumper that he rode at the rail yard. And then Cam had his 16-inch that he rode the whole time. And then Lauren had her Juliana that she rode the whole time. Oh, you're right. Okay, so I took one bike down that never got ridden, and I was Lauren's slope bike because by the time we went to the rail yard, she was too tired to ride, and so she didn't make that trip.
Doggone.
Well, nice.
Yep.
I gotta try to get down there.
It was pretty awesome when you posted the pictures of Connor. I know I was pumped about that.
I was stoked, man. Like when I couldn't believe it.
Sad for all the people down there and all the cleanup they got to do after those tornadoes. It definitely sucks, especially with all the work they put in to prepare for that event, you know. And heard it's pretty bad down there. I know we all got friends that live down there and whatnot. It's the trails are not in good shape. So
no, it's the worst I've ever seen as far as like trail damage goes. Like we've all seen downed trees, but I mean it's It like we, I know we've kind of talked about it, but it's big deal damage. So I mean, we were in Bentonville, and an honest rated F3 tornado went through Rogers, and it was we couldn't get into Rogers, so we didn't know how bad it was. We tried to go ride the rail yard. We assumed the trails were going to be trashed because just we could see how many trees were down in our neighborhood, power lines and all that stuff. So we loaded up, packed up, and figured, we'll just go to Rogers, we'll ride the rail yard, and then head home. And we couldn't even get within 2 miles of Rogers. So when we started getting closer to Rogers, roads were closed. And then eventually we tried like 3 detours before a cop turned us around and said, nobody's going into Rogers unless you're first responder. And then that was the morning of, and that was kind of when we started going, ooh, maybe this is actually pretty bad. And it was way worse than we expected. But yeah, no, there was like legitimate destroyed homes. I mean, old trees, old trees that were down, big like root balls that were like the size of my truck that were pulled up. And
oh yeah,
it was heavy, man. And so the work that it's going to take to make that place rideable again is extensive. Is not even the right word for it. I mean, it's all the bridges. Most of the bridges are totally destroyed. I mean, there's a lot of total loss out there that it's just millions and millions of dollars worth of work. So it was terrible what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time in Missouri, I mean, all those trails will get reopened and fixed up. Like that's
Sure.
that's what they do down there. The last time in Missouri I can think of where we had a storm that took down tons of trees on a trail was I'd say it was around 2019, maybe 2020. We had a huge windstorm go around Farmington and it blew down a ton of trees on like the best section of St. Joe Park's trail. And they just rerouted it, and that place has not been nearly as good ever since. And now they've rerouted it again, and it's even worse. But that's not what this episode's about. So.
Oh, negative Nancy. Hey, to speak on your negative Nancy, I think I'm going to order a Pinarello Dogma.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I forgot about that rant, Ryan.
I think I'm going to order one just because it'd make you mad.
I didn't even put that on the list for rant. Yeah, let's just go ahead and change gears entirely here since you've got me riled up. I've had this rant before, but I'm really feeling it now. I was talking to another buddy about this earlier today. In my opinion, the way that like motorsports, motocross, supercross, heck, even basketball, baseball, I don't know if I'd say football. Football, you still have to get through the playoffs to get narrowed down to the championship, so I think even that's superior. I think cross-country professional mountain bike racing is ridiculous in the way it people heap praise on people who show up for one race here and there where they've been able to train to peak at that race, and they're racing against an entire field that's just been like in the grind of the regular season. Particularly this past weekend, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, who I saw people comment, she's the greatest female mountain bike racer ever. She has never, ever won the World Cup overall. Not one time. And you're going to tell me she's the best? If she wants to be the best, she needs to do the series like all the people she shows up and has to race every now and then when she's been able to plan each race as a race. Oh, it drives me nuts. I'm like, nope. Nope. Tom Pidcock, a little bit different because he's still racing stuff just constantly. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if someday he got popped for doping just because he's so ridiculous. But I mean, seriously, the guy's an alien. If he's clean, he's an alien. But the PFP, she did this last year, same crap, where these women, they were in South America twice. They've done other races. They're like in the grind. And Pauline shows up, is like, yeah, I want to win the Olympics, so I'm just going to do the bare minimum possible to get there. Oh, and by the way, if I show up on World Champs Day, for the next year, everybody will call me the world champion for this one race. Meanwhile, Loana Lecomte or Alessandra Keller or whoever ends up winning the overall, who was in it for the season, will be forgotten about.
Yeah.
It ticks me off.
No,
I hate it.
I agree with you.
It's stupid.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's like they poach that.
The whole fact that there's a single day world champ race, that seems weird to me. Like that should always be just the culmination of the series, right? There shouldn't be a single day that awards you the world champ jersey.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's so stupid. Have a special race after the season or whatever. But you wouldn't call like back when we had like the Supercross, the U.S. Open of Supercross or the Monster Cup. Like you wouldn't call that person the world champion for an entire year. Meanwhile, you've got the champion is the series champion. And that
reminds me of
achievement.
It reminds me of something coming up locally that gets my blood boiling. And that's
What's
the
that? I
state
don't know what that
championship cross country race. Why is that race a state championship race? At the Heartbreaker at Creve Coeur.
Yeah. Oh, that's the
That's
state
a state
championship
champion?
race.
It's quote unquote the state championship race.
What
On the
is that
easiest
race?
mountain bike course in Missouri next weekend.
I have no idea. I mean, people
Anyway.
could say, well, what about like high school sports, football, basketball? It's like, yeah, but even those championships, to get to the championship game, you had to go through tournaments and other teams, and then at the professional level, basketball and baseball, it's a 7-game series, right? Like it's not a whoever just happened to be hot for that day is, you only have to be great once. And that's where I'm like, every race that she goes and does, she's racing against people who have been having to do season. Now you can say, well, those people need to, if they want that life, they need to get on a team that allows them to do that. And if they're good enough, they should be able to sign for it. But it's like, I guess maybe, but is Trek going to sign someone to just do select races and not do the series? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
There's only so many spots for that kind of person.
Yeah.
Because there's not that much value. Yeah, it just Ryan got me rolling on it.
Sorry,
listeners.
listeners.
No. Anyway, maybe people disagree, but I think it is vastly inferior of a type of setup. And I'm sure she'll go win the Olympics, like I hope not. I hope these other women have enough time. I don't know when the Olympics even starts versus their last World Cup round.
I think it's like the end of July.
I hope there's enough time from whatever the race previous to the Olympics that they have to race is to the Olympics that they can get enough recovery and like reset where they will all be like ready to blow her doors off.
Yeah.
That will make me very happy. And it's not even because I dislike her. I mean, she's playing the game that she's able to play. I just think the game itself is stupid. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I hate the game.
Right.
And the emphasis that cross country mountain biking specifically puts on single events. Now, enduro, even though EDR is kind of not in a great place right now, at least they get it right. Like the goal is to be champion, right? The goal is not to win one race out of the year. It's to be the series champ. Even downhill is still a little better. I still think it's dumb that downhill has world champs that's like in the middle of the season or whatever. But I still think there's more emphasis put on being the overall winner. As being like the top goal.
Even if they weighted it for points though, and then still had the world champ race be worth double points for the season or something, like you could still do. I like World Champs Day for downhill only because everybody does really sweet custom painted bikes. Like I like seeing that as having a focus day for that kind of stuff, but I still think it's dumb that somebody gets a jersey based on a single day of racing.
Yeah. Well, while I'm on it, I was going to switch to our other main subject today. We're all over the place, but I've got another rant that just got under my skin. I was watching a YouTube video about tires. Okay. And there's always some jabroni that thinks everyone else is drinking the Kool-Aid. That's the irony. And the comment was, the only thing you need to know about tires is the word minions. And I put maybe 20 years ago, like, seriously? The minion DHF is fine, but to act like in 22 years, or 21 years, they haven't figured anything else out about rubber compounds or tread design. Like, the only people who say this are, like, they're the ones drinking the marketing Kool-Aid I know you've never tried anything else. And they will tell you they haven't because they don't need to, because those are the best. How do they know they're the best? Because they like them. Why do they like them? Because they're the only tire they've ever had. It's classic circular reasoning, and it drives me nuts. Like, just try something different, people. And if you want to go back, you can always go back. And for those of you who think I'm a Vittoria shill, I've got another thing. I'm very sad because I thought the Vittoria Peyote was going to be my secret weapon to help me keep up with Ryan. But you know what? I can't run it on the Ozark Trail because I'm too heavy and there's too many sharp, pointy rocks. And dadgummit, I went out to Berryman on, what is today? Today's Thursday. My kids went back to school Tuesday. I was like, hey, I don't have any meetings today, and my kids are in school. I'm going to go ride. And I made it like a mile and a half and realized I had a puncture right on top. I'm just like, well, I mean, just look at the thing. I kind of figured, I mean, I wasn't shocked at all, right? Like, there's just not, the knobbies that are there are not big. It's a very small distance from the knobby to the main part of the tire. So yeah, I took it off and put the other mezcal on the back, and I think maybe that the bigger knobs and extra rubber's thick enough that I'll be able to run it. But you know, the peyote, it's just not going to be your Ozark Trail tire unless you weigh like 140 or less.
Darn it, I'm out.
I mean,
where do you think that tire shines? Like where are you racing where that's the tire to go to?
Oh, anywhere that's got real like dirt, like hard pack firm dirt.
It's going to be more of a up north tire, a Minnesota, Wisconsin type tire.
Oh yeah, or even south.
Yeah.
If you live down in the south, anywhere in the south where it's more of a sandy clay. Houston, oh gosh, that tire would rip in Houston, Texas. There's not a rock there. They don't exist, and you don't have to worry about flats, and you would fly. Even like Bluffview Zombie, if you can see, if you're on like dirt and then there's a rock formation, I think you can run them fine because you can kind of do things to be a little bit careful if you need to. But out at Berryman or the Ozark Trail, that you're just riding on rocks. It's like very gravelly, but it's raw. It's not refined quarry gravel. It's just raw, natural,
sharp, jagged, cut.
gravel. Yeah. And when it's wet, and I rode it was wet, it was very wet. You add that extra bit of like lubrication, and the pointy rocks are gonna, they're gonna cut in. And I will say though, in its favor, as far as traction goes, even in the wet, like I found it to be plenty adequate. Like I didn't feel sketchy. I mean, I had to be a little more careful than normal, but it's like, dude, I could, like a tire that feels this way would be totally fine. It's just not going to hold up for 50 something miles. There's no way I'm going to make it 50 miles without poking a hole in the top.
Speaking of 50 miles, so you thought the tire was going to get you there with me, huh?
I thought it would help. No, I didn't think it was going to be the only thing I needed. Riding a lot more is something I'm going to need. Although
we
Ryan,
we do need our listeners to.
I have hope because with my kids going to kindergarten, like my older kids, there's not a whole lot I can do with the newborn. I can't feed the kid. I should have at least 1, maybe 2 days a week to like do legitimate big rides where I can be gone for 3-4 hours at a whack. So
you're gonna get like almost 2 months of cramming for the testing.
Well, I hope so.
Does
it ever actually work out that way though? Does it ever actually work out that way? No. I'm just saying there's hope. I have hope.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, well now that we have been in it for 41 minutes,
Less
uh,
negativity.
so Kyle, the topic, and this is kind of loosely based on another podcast I saw, but they seem to more be shilling for their own products on the MTB podcast, and they were all like, "Oh, I gotta have my," and then they list off like 5 things that are their house brand, right? Um, but it's like, what is something that technically you don't need it to ride, or you don't need that particular brand of thing, but something that you are like, man, this is my go-to. I love X. I will always buy this brand of this component or whatever, or it could be
Or
a gadget, something where it's like, man,
or
if I don't have it, the ride is ruined, or it's just
yeah.
not as good. Ryan said he's got a good one. I've got a good one. Kyle, you'll be able to think about it while we're talking.
Yeah, I probably got I probably got two, not necessarily specific things, but mostly like brands that I have to use for certain categories of parts on my bikes that are on every single bike that I have in my house.
Okay.
But
Well,
what? Yep, but go ahead.
yeah, we'll let Ryan, me and Ryan will go first. So you know, I have a feeling
So
I know what you're gonna say, Kyle, but
I
go ahead,
had
Ryan.
and mine's not like a ride ruined, and partially my ride's not ruined because I now have supplementary. But man, like if I get to the trail and my Garmin, I forgot it or it didn't charge, like for me, maybe it's because I'm a Strava poster or I like tracking all my miles and analyzing my workouts. But like for me, that's like a mega frustration. So like last night, I've gotten the trail before too, and also forgot my heart rate monitor. So that's a frustration. But like last night, I got there, I put my Garmin on my bike, and I took off, and I went to turn it on, and I I swore I charged it the night before, but maybe I left it on, and it while I drove, it kind of ran. Um, so I was like super frustrated. But now I have a Garmin watch, so I was able to run it on my watch. But it still was like annoying to me because I couldn't look down, just look straight down at my screen. You know what I mean? So not necessarily like ruins the ride. I actually had a great ride last night. Blue River Trail in Kansas City, super fun system. By the way, if you're in KC, check it out. But anyway, for me, it's like my Garmin. I think anything else, like obviously if I have to have my shoes, but and a helmet, but like I can kind of get by with I'm not really like too particular on anything else, I don't think. But like, yeah, I show up and I don't have my heart rate strap or my Garmin. Like to me, I'm just like, I don't know, my brain can't think. So
Yeah, that's a good one. I use a Garmin watch only. To me, that's good, plenty good enough. I do have a backup GPS computer in my truck that, if I forget my watch or something, I'll throw it on there. It's usually got enough battery just to record the ride, but that is a bummer. Now, and I'm kind of like you, like I've got completely different brands, like 3 different half shell helmets that depending
yeah,
on, I've got a little blinky like red light strapped to the back of it. So when I ride around town and I have to get on the highway and stuff,
mm-hmm.
just some extra visibility. But if I don't feel like taking the blinky light off, I'll just grab an old half shell that I have, Fox, Gyro. I've got my main one's my giant one, but I I've got all different gloves. I really don't care that much. Even shoes, I really do like the Crank Brothers shoes that I have, but I could be persuaded to try something else, whatever. But the one thing I have now that I love um, is for my birthday, I got this little miniature DeWalt personal Bluetooth speaker that
Oh,
I can clip on my shirt. I'll clip it on if I have my backpack on. And I like it because I don't like earbuds in, especially if I'm riding around town because I can't hear anything else. Um,
oh, see, I like that.
but that's kind of dangerous, especially if cars
Oh,
are
especially
around
around town.
or, and I wouldn't, and I don't like not being able to hear my bike at all. just because if I am getting a flat and air's hissing out or whatever, if I haven't noticed, or something's creaking or doesn't sound right, like I like to be able to still hear the woods around me, you know.
Oh, see, that's how I
like
don't hear the creaking. I wear earbuds so I don't hear the creaking.
Yeah, I just run until it dies.
It's like the rattle on the dashboard, right, in your truck.
Yep.
Like, just turn the radio up.
Yep. And then
Right.
and then the sound itself, you know, it's not like a big hanging Bluetooth speaker that's just like blaring into the woods, but like the sound quality is good, but it doesn't really project super far. It's like right by my own face. So all the whiny crybabies that act like, you know, if they're out in the woods for 5 hours and they hear 30 seconds of music, like their entire experience is just destroyed, you know. But the other thing is that, like, with the little, it's got tactile buttons on it. If I do see people, all I do is I just reach up, tap it once, it pauses. I go by or I talk to them, and then once I take off again, I tap the button. Boom, got my music back. Like, I love it. And if someone calls me, like, and if I have cell service, someone calls me, like, I was riding at 10 miles an hour with it, and I was on the phone with someone, and they're like, no, it sounds fine. Sounds like you're in your truck.
Nice.
I love it. It was it's so worth the money, in my opinion.
So quick segment, since we're talking about music, and we'll come back to Kyle. What's your recent go-to song that pumps you up when you ride? I got one.
Go ahead.
I want to hear yours.
Oh, mine? I'll do mine. Okay. Well, it's really basically an entire album that I play.
All right, fair enough.
It's the Vulfpeck. That's spelled V as in Victor, ULFPECK. Live at Madison Square Garden concert album.
Oh.
Got Joe Dart on the Joe Dart bass. It's the funkiest music. I mean, and I can't be in a bad mood when I'm jamming to that music. Cannot be in a bad mood. I love it.
I'm gonna have to try it. Mine, I don't know why. I've heard this song all my life, but I don't think I've ever had this song on like a workout playlist or anything like that. I like classic rock, not classic rock, like 70s, 80s rock, I guess. Kind of classic rock.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Bear from Nugent. Like, that jam is so good. How have I never had that on a workout playlist?
I have
Fred
no idea
Bear.
this.
Old Uncle Ted?
What?
I'm gonna have to look this up.
Oh, this is the greatest.
Is.
All right. That's the first thing you're doing after this podcast is you're going to listen to Fred Bear, and then you have to text us and let us know how awesome it is, because it is great. Right, Kyle?
I'd have to, so I'm sure I've heard it before. I've listened to a little bit of Ted.
Yeah, you too, Kyle. Got to listen to it.
All right, Kyle, let's hear yours. What's yours, and why does it have to be SRAM? Wait, did we lose him?
Kyle? Oh, no. He got
what a moment to lose him.
If anybody's hiring out there, Kyle needs a new job.
Okay, well, this will be fun for me. Okay, I'm going to pretend to be Kyle for a minute, and I'm going to tell you exactly what Kyle says when he gets back to us. My wife's calling me right now. I'm going to tell you what Kyle's going to say.
Hold on. Can you hear me?
Oh, Kyle, I was going to be you because I already know what you're going to say.
I know. Yeah, I got two things. So one, I got two songs right now that have been on my list, and neither you guys have no idea either one of them are. One of them is called "Show Me" by Mint Royal. If you don't know the song, listen to it. And then the other one is "Let Us Hear Your Voice" by Pennywise.
All right.
Both great songs. But one of them makes me flow. The other one makes me pedal.
Okay, Kyle, wait. Before you answer about what you have to have for your ride, for your bikes or whatever, can I just try to be you for a second and guess?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
There's gonna be no spoilers here.
Hey everybody, I'm Kyle Krangle, and I just have to have SRAM RockShox components on my bikes, especially SRAM. You know, working at different bike shops and stuff, they're just so much easier to work with, and I just really like their stuff. And now that I have SRAM Axis group sets and especially transmission, I mean, there's no going back. and get better deals on the RockShox stuff anyway. And I just really like having all my stuff match and do it on all my bike builds. How'd I do?
No, it's pretty close. So I'll say a lot of so because I do work in the industry and I have for a long time, a lot of my preferences are based around the people that represent the brands that I work with, right? So like became a Fox nerd because Jeremy Runge was just an absolutely outstanding sales rep for Fox, right? And so I still keep in touch with Jeremy. He's now no longer at Fox, but my whole closet is all full of Fox stuff because of Jeremy. But so bike stuff that I have to have. So I will say this. I do prefer RockShox. I don't have to have that though. So I've had Fox bikes that I've really enjoyed. I've built Fox bikes on purpose. I've got a Cane Creek bike in my basement that I've built up. I've got a couple Fox bikes still. RockShox is still my preference, but I will say I don't see myself ever leaving SRAM drivetrains. I know there's great Shimano stuff out there. I know the value of Dior. I know the XTR stuff is phenomenal. I'm a SRAM guy. So SRAM drivetrains and SRAM brakes. I'll put that out there too. So SRAM drivetrains and SRAM brakes. Yeah.
Kyle, can I interrupt you? How mad are you going to be when I tell you this, that I just ordered Shimano cassette and chainring and chain to go on my SRAM Axis derailleur?
I'm actually really curious to see how that plays out. Yeah, like and really for me, it's just familiarity. Is like that. I know all of the standards and the specs, and I know how to buy and like make sure I get the right stuff. Like SRAM is just easy for me, and it just works. And I'm good at tuning it, so like I don't have to learn anything. It just works for me. The other one, component wise, that I require is kind of an oddball, but one up dropper post. My legs are too short to run almost anything else at a decent length, and one up is the only brand that offers a dropper post with a short enough stack height that allows me to run the same size dropper post that the rest of you guys run on all your bikes. So my cross country bike, that doesn't really matter. I don't need that to be a slammed seat post, but like any enduro bike or play bike that I've got is I want to have maximum drop. And the only way for me to get that is with the one up post because my legs are too stumpy.
Well, dadgummit, Kyle, that's a really good answer.
That's a good answer.
That's a really good answer.
That's a requirement by necessity, though, Kyle.
Yeah, that's like an actual requirement slash preference.
It's a preference by necessity. And then the only other thing that like for a ride that I'd be mad if I didn't bring that I have forgotten and been mad that I forgot is gloves. I do not like bare hands on grips. I like having gloves on for many reasons, but I have been on rides where I've forgotten my gloves and hated the ride because I didn't have my gloves that time. So I'll say for getting gloves on a ride sucks.
I'm with you 100% there. Gloves are as essential as a helmet pretty much for me.
If I'm on a mountain bike,
especially in the summer, maybe in the fall I could maybe get away with it if I didn't have a choice, but summer, forget it. I can't.
I'm too sweaty in the summer. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, there's no way.
And I like to wipe. I even like to use my glove and like wipe the sweat off my face and stuff. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
And then I can do no gloves on the road bike or gravel bike. Like I don't mind doing no gloves there. Like that's fine. But mountain bike, it's easy to suffer for one ride a year, Kyle.
Oh, that's good.
I'm riding the gravel bike out to Herman, not this weekend, but the following weekend. I've got the Gnarls Enduro this weekend, and then the weekend after that, I'm riding St. Charles to Herman, so it'll be a 55-mile gravel ride.
Sweet, look at that.
I mean, I definitely have some parts preferences as well. I mean, if I can afford transmission, I'm getting it. I really do like my Manitou forks. I really like those Hayes Dominion A4 brakes, but they're definitely not deal breakers. Like if the next bike comes with a RockShox Zeb and Maven brakes, I'm going to be just fine. Like I'm not going to go out of my way to change them.
Ooh, I just thought of one that's almost I gotta have is an oval chainring for me. And I know there's people out there like it doesn't make a difference. That's fine if you don't believe that. I have terrible knees, and I can swear to you, when I don't ride an oval chainring, my knees hurt, and when I do, they don't hurt. So
that's awesome.
I've
never done one before.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, one thing that I don't have to have that everyone else seems to have, even though I have it now, you guys Well, I kind of do because my forks and my shocks are different brands. Um, but even my, I just recently, as in yesterday, put on a HAVES rear 180 brake rotor to go with my HAVES brakes because I had a HAVES front rotor, SRAM rear rotor on my short travel bike. And I finally was like, you know what? Maybe it's time to get these to match. So uh, I'm definitely I will not hesitate to mismatch components, suspension brands, tire brands, whatever. I just don't care that much.
Ooh, I can't do that. So yeah, no, I the tire brand has to match for me, and then I do have a weird preference for matching the tire brand to the manufacturer of the frame. Like I don't know why, it makes me happy inside. And then I guess I would say I absolutely prefer the shock and the fork brands to match, but I'm looking at 2 bikes hanging in my basement now, 3 bikes actually that don't have matching. Now that I think about it, I only have 1 bike in my basement with matching fork and shock. 2. I have 2. No, 3. No, I have 3. Nope, that's 2. Yeah, I have 2. I only have 2 bikes in my house right now that have a matching brand fork and shock, and that maybe now bothers me more than it did before this conversation.
Well, you know why you've let yourself get away with that is because you used to be Trek's biggest fanboy, and Trek used to spec bikes from the factory with mismatched brand fork and shock. Like
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And I
like,
think as long as it matches, like I don't want a Kashima something with a non-Kashima other something. Like,
oh,
and I've
now you're
got one
just hurting
bike.
my feelings.
No, I've
That's
got
how
one
my
bike.
trance is, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, so I've got one bike in my basement right now where I've got a RockShox fork with black stanchions and a full Kashima shock on it, and it bothers me. I'm going to replace it. Like 100%, it's on my list. I'll be buying that for zero reason to replace it just to make it match.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
I actually think it looks good on my trance. It's got kind of a silver in the front, gold in the middle thing, so it's a little silver and gold type deal. Anyway, all right, I'm looking at the notes here to see if we forgot. I think I got all my I got all my issues out. This was a pretty good episode, I think.
Yeah,
Anything
not
else,
bad.
boys?
I don't know what do you guys got coming up bicycle wise? I know like I mentioned earlier, the Heartbreaker's coming up for me and my cross country homies. And then we've got the Heartbreaker. I also noticed Matson cross country's back on the UFD schedule. So if you guys haven't seen that and you like racing at Matson, which I certainly do, I think it's the first weekend in August. So you get to go down in the sauna that is Matson Hill in the first weekend in August and sweat your brains out. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, ICC, hopefully you all are getting registered up. There's an e-bike class for you e-bikers out there. Fun.
And the heavy hitters.
And a heavy hitters. Like if you can pedal a bicycle, you should come out and race it because like there's a class for you to have some fun.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have Connor. I'm gonna have Connor race a full lap, like actual class. I think it's the 13 and under class, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and make him do a full single lap race.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well because this is probably the only year he'll do a lap and not beat you. So
even that's up for debate. He might get me this year.
He's getting so good so fast.
Dude, and that's the thing, man, is like his riding, even just on that single trip that we did, was like, holy crap. Like it was such an advancement in his skill level in a 3-day window. Like just being able to get stuff and hit like good, well-built stuff on repetition. It was like, oh my goodness.
Well, I was going to ask you that earlier and don't get too far in the weeds because of time wise, but like, what was his age range progression? I remember like you started building him a couple ramps, or you had like that little plastic kicker ramp, like down into the retention area there by your house. Was he 5 when he started doing that?
No, he was probably 4. So I had his first ramp I ever built for him would have been for his 3rd birthday, and it was a kicker roller, and it was small. So it had like the front face of it had the shape of a kicker, and the backside it rolled over. So like you could just hit it as a roller. It wasn't super flowy as a roller, but you could jump it. So eventually he started rolling it, and then eventually started jumping it. And then I built a kicker jump, I guess, for his 5th birthday. maybe I've had it 2 years now. Yeah, I think I probably built the kicker ramp that jumps into like the retention area. I built that probably 2 years ago, so he was 5. And then we've been doing BMX tracks regularly since he was 3, and then pump tracks since it opened. So he was probably 3.5 or whatever, however old he was when that place opened, and he's been going there.
I just asked because like Tuck's all of a sudden like, dude, like he wants to jump everything, like the curbs out front, and dude, we went to the pump track the other night, and actually he just super impressed me. Like he wasn't catching much, really any air but he did the expert line on the pump track, like rode up and down it, like, and went off the middle drop over on the skill side, and like he's every little roller he's like, picking his front wheel up off of it and catching a little air. So like I was thinking that the other day. I was like, what was Connor's progression? I knew it was between 5 and 6, and Tucker's 5.5. So like he's getting there for sure. It's kind of cool to watch these kids, man. When they start figuring it out, watch out, they're good, so you're getting close to that, Clinton.
Yeah, maybe. My son really doesn't, he's just not that into it at all. Adrenaline doesn't like do much for him. But my daughter, if I built her a jump, she'd probably just be like, if I said go pedal as hard as you can into it, she'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
But as far as races coming up, for the more gravity oriented among us, this weekend, which would be the actual race is on June 2nd. We've got the St. Gnarls Enduro that hits Summit Klondike, Summit Matson, and then one in Augusta. So I'll be racing that, and then I'll have
That's a good race.
As soon as I'm done racing, I'm probably gonna have to leave and book it back to Farmington for youth group for church. And then we've got the 3 Sketchyville downhill series races. So these are run, kind of reminds me like motocross. It's all shuttles. You shuttle up in the morning, do as many practice runs as you can get in, and then it's usually 3 downhill stages, still shuttled. You don't have to climb. Do your 3 downhill runs. They have a brand new timing system that's just like the ones all the enduros use. So it's not stopwatch anymore. And they're cheap. They're like $30 a race. There's one June 8th, June 22nd, and then another one in August, but I can't remember the date off the top of my head. So I'll definitely be doing those. The only one of those that's up in the air for me is the first one because my daughter has ballet recital that day, and it all depends on how chaotic things are and how much my mother-in-law can help as to whether I'll make that race or not. I mean, I'll be done in time for the recital, but if my wife needs more help with the boys and stuff, I'll have to skip that one. But I've got those. I'm going to do the Epic. I'm going to try to do at least some other cross-country stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to make ICC, but maybe one of the ones down at Council Bluff. I've got a buddy that's in North Carolina that's trying to get me to come do a Century road bike race with him, but I think it's like really at 50 miles a day because I think it's 2 days. I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not, but if I could, I would. So that's what I've got coming up, and I hope some of y'all show up for that stuff.
Nice.
I think I've got a couple of those. I'm going to do the Gnarls, definitely the ICC. I don't know. Maybe I'll do the Heartbreaker. It depends if I get a cross-country bike. I really don't feel like racing a 37-pound enduro bike on a cross-country race.
I just do the heavy hitters, Kyle. It'll be fine.
That's next weekend. So.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. I'm not doing it then. I'm going to Herman. So I've got that big ride to Herman. So I'm actually excited about that too. I don't really make much time on purpose to get out on the gravel bike, but I like my gravel bike, so I'll be excited to ride it for a day.
All right. Well, I'm calling it. We are almost. We'll be right in an hour by the time I hit the stop recording button. So
nice.
Appreciate you guys coming on. Thank you all for listening. Always, you can send us feedback at okayestmtb@gmail.com or get at us on our Facebook page. And if you see us on the trails, say hi. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.